Dick Vitale struck me as the single biggest hypocrite who embarrassed himself all night doing this and all weekend. Because while Dicky V is hammering Sean Miller and hammering Arizona and hammering the scandal, he is then also vociferously defending Rick Pitino, saying there is no evidence that connects Rick Pitino to it and that he was just talking to Jim Boeheim. And Jim said how unfair this was to Rick Pitino. So thus, it must be really unfair to Rick Pitino and that he hasn't seen or heard a shred of evidence that connects Rick Pitino to this problem. Now, of course, Rick Pitino was the first coach to be fired based on the FBI probe because it's pretty good, solid evidence that Pitino knew about a $100,000 payment to Brian Bowen, his recruit, via Adidas. Vitale has the gall to tweet about Sean Miller in Arizona. Quote, "This certainly is no shock. Arizona must clean house starting with Sean Miller. No place for making efforts to buy players. Cats must be banned from March Madness if Ayton took the alleged cash." Now, this is a pretty aggressive tweet from Dicky V. And yet, in the same breath, in the middle of a game that does not include Louisville, he goes into a rant defending Rick Pitino. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for an old man that has become a cheerleader of the sport, a mascot, and nothing else, to, on the one hand, trash one program and one coach, and then, on the other hand, say, and there's no evidence my friend did anything. Rick Pitino has been lying since the day he got his first job at Providence. Rick Pitino has been caught in more scandals and more lies than anybody else in college basketball history, arguably. Louisville dismissed Rick Pitino because he has been at the front end of too many scandals. And here is Dick Vitale defending Pitino, saying there's no evidence. It's unfair treatment. He's clean. Now, on the one hand, I could sit here and tell you that Vitale is delusional, but we all know that anyway. I mean, the way that he glosses everybody all the time makes you just feel like he's in bed with every coach because he's a former coach. He gets to sit down with these guys before games, talk to them, and of course he's their friend, so he's going to defend them. But Dicky V's not just defending all of them. Dicky V is picking and choosing who he defends. So, for Sean Miller, who he's not a golfing buddy with, well, he's got to go. Arizona must clean house. But for Rick Pitino, who he is a golf buddy with, there's no evidence. It's embarrassing. And if I'm ESPN, I'm telling Dick Vitale this right now. Dicky V, keep doing your stupid diaper dandy thing. People seem to like it. Do the every night because people seem to have loved this. Do your old shtick that you've been doing for 30 tired years. Do it because that's why we pay you to do it. You're Dick Vitale on games because you had become a face of college basketball, and people still have a nostalgic feel for you calling games, doing those catchphrases, and being that type of mascot. But stay out of wading into serious stuff because you look and sound like a fool. You sound like an old, dithering fool. In the wake of this scandal and FBI probe, to, in the middle of a Syracuse-Duke game, be defending Rick Pitino out of nowhere, unprovoked? I think it was Wischusen doing the game with him. Wischusen didn't go, hey, and Dick, what do you think about Rick Pitino? It was, let me unprovoked launch into a defense of my friend. It's pathetic. It's pathetic and it's embarrassing. Why? Because this is a really serious scandal that has tentacles extended all over college hoops. This affects every program and how business is done, because even if you're not paying players, even if you don't have the budget or you just feel like it's ethically compromised or wrong, flat out wrong, to offer these guys money, you are recruiting against other programs that will. So this FBI probe affects everybody in college basketball, the scope of which is enormous. And to sit there in the middle of this and defend a friend simply because he's that, even though everybody else knows the guy's dirty, even though the athletic department did not want to fire a guy that delivered a national championship, but felt like they had to defend a guy whose national championship at Louisville has now been vacated, to defend a guy who on his watch had prostitutes in the dorm room, who just months after this scandal is implicated in paying another recruit $100,000. To defend that guy is, frankly, humiliating. I mean, again, you just come off as an old, dithering fool. It would be one thing if Dicky V took the airwaves and defended every coach, and defended Sean Miller, and defended every coach, defended Coach K, defended Tom Izzo, defended everybody. But no, he's going to take a hatchet to Sean Miller in Arizona and say, clean house, ban from March Madness. But then sit there and tell you with a straight face, exonerate my friend. It's a joke, and ESPN should be embarrassed, because this type of story takes depth, and it takes unbiasedness, and it takes knowledge and studiousness and research and fair-mindedness, because this is huge. And here is dopey Dick Vitale, who should only be trusted with catchphrases, trying to weigh in on a significant, enormous, culture-changing investigation, and in doing so can find no better reasoning than, I need to see evidence from my friend. It was humiliating. I listened to that, and it was embarrassing. And ESPN should be embarrassed by him handling that way. Of all the people, it's like having a baseball writer. It's like having Peter Gammons on a Sunday night baseball telecast saying Mark McGwire should be kept out of the Hall of Fame, and Sammy Sosa should be kept out of the Hall of Fame, and Rafael Palmeiro cheated, and Roger Clemens cheated and is a liar, but you got to show me evidence on Barry Bonds. It's embarrassing. Shut up, go home, stick to the catchphrases. That's it.